Hey everybody, welcome back. Doing an Iceman character review video. We found out the final two, I guess, pieces to this X-Men team, astonishing X-Men team. We already knew about Jubilee coming. We finally saw Bishop, saw his kit. This team seems like it will be strong in raids. So if you've got the extra resources to build that, that's great. Obviously, with the Doom raid coming, there is a mutant section. This seems like the team to be and want in the raid. So we're going to talk about Iceman. I've had some concerns about some of the stats that I've been seeing with him, but I think those might be alleviated if you play him right and think about certain things. So I'll go over that in the video. For anybody who's new to check out this video, click the Discord link in the description below. That'll bring you to the Discord. Kind of notify you anytime we do any videos. We typically try to do stuff to help people out. These character reviews, T4 rankings, top 10 rankings, sometimes just fun stuff, Dark Dimension, whatever. Anyway, or if you just want to come hang out and learn more about the game, we're there for that too. So anyway, let's get to the Iceman video.
Bring me WolverThor!
All right, so first we always like to look the abilities and kind of the T4s and talk about them a little bit. His basic, called Chilling Blast, is attack primary and adjacent targets for 190% damage and apply slow. There's an extra 1000% extra focus on this here, so that is critical once we get to the stats because, as I mentioned, I'm a little worried about his focus. So this for his basic is fantastic. You get 1000 extra focus, right? And the T4s here give you an extra 50% damage. Again, unless his damage stats are really high, I'm not sure I'm really going to invest in that, but we'll see. Iceman Special, called Freezing Impact. This is a short cooldown, so it's only 3, and you get it first turn. You can also see down here that the ultimate is a 5-turn cooldown and also first turn. So we'll have the decision to make on what we want to use first turn, which we'll get into again a little bit later because I need to talk about stats with some of this stuff. He's going back to his special. Attack primary target for 230% damage. If the target has slow, this attack always crits and applies stun. Now, I'm assuming that if it's slow, it's critting and applying stun, and the stun's not going to apply unless it's already on slow there. The T4 is another 50% damage. Again, I'm not sure I'm going to do that. If it was like... I don't even know if maybe also applied slow and then stun, similar to like how Swarm works with that. I think it's a special where he continues to attack if there's abilities there. Then I'd maybe be a little bit more into that, but with this one, I'm not so sure. So the ultimate we talked about potentially also being a first turn ability. This one's Ice Slide. Bury yourself for 20% of this character's max health, then attack all enemies. We love the attacking all enemies for 260% damage. And apply a +1 slow to each target. So he's got the ability to stack those slows, which would be fantastic. You like seeing that, the symbiotes can get things slowed so much. Granted, they've got the speed bar increase as well. You want to see those slows stack. The T4s here give you an extra 10% of barrier. That's pretty decent. Again, depending on his max health. And then the additional damage for attacking all enemies is 60%. So that's a pretty good damage increase there. Again, depending on where his damage is at, that's where I'm kind of, or his damage stats are, will determine whether I really want to do that or not. So again, whether we're going to do one of these first or second turn, it's like, well, this one, the special, even without looking at the stats, I'm not sure I'd want to do that because unless somebody who's faster than Iceman is putting slows out there, you're wasting the stun. So you look at the special here and like, okay, well, it's attacking everybody and potentially applying a +1 slow if it's already out there. So depending on speed and where everyone's speed bars are, that will determine how effective this is. If he's, just fast or slow enough to get this off and put a slow on someone where they're about to take their turn, then this ability is not, it's going to kind of suck. You really want to add that slow for where it ticks over to our turn. And you want to make sure that he's got the focus to be able to land it. So when we get to those stats, we're going to talk a little bit more about, what the turn order. So normally I just kind of go to those stats and don't come back here. We're going to talk about that a little bit after. So this passive, absolute 0. If this character has 4 more astonishing X-Men allies and health is full at the start of the match, you revive once with 40% of this character's max health. So that's kind of nice. That's going to be there no matter what. He's got to revive. You like seeing those. On Javier is the best. He knows I'm recording. That's awesome. On enemy slow, bury yourself for 5% of this character's max health. On enemy turn, 30% chance to attack that enemy for 110% piercing. If that enemy has slow, always attack that enemy for 110% piercing. Lower armor by 10% for all enemies with slow. In raids, you also lower damage by 20% for all enemies with slow. So that middle section that we went over, on enemy slow, you bury yourself. So it'd be nice with that ultimate, you know, if you're attacking all those enemies and putting those slows, that he gets 5% per. But we'll see how that is. I'm assuming it does, but we don't know that. And then on enemy turn, the 30% chance to attack that enemy for piercing. Okay, you know, that's just there. It's kind of like whatever. But if the enemy has slow, you always attack that enemy for basically the same damage. So these slows with this passive are very, very important. You want to make sure that those slows go. So he's just like pinging people, right? So that's really, again, the focus comes into play a lot with this guy. And then we mentioned the section of the bomb. So the T4s here, you get 30% piercing on this, you know, on enemy turn, which is okay. You know, it's fine. Piercing's decent, again, depending on his damage. The lower armor by an additional 10%, that's pretty good. Again, the enemies need to have slow. It's a theme with Iceman here. And in the raids, you lower damage by everybody by additional 10%. Again, assuming they have slow. So you really, I wouldn't invest any T4s in this character unless I'm really seeing the slows land. If I'm not seeing those slows land, then I'm not, none of this even matters because he's not doing it anyway. So, you know, we'll talk about whether we can get this slow and stuff here. And I'm going to come back on how I'm going to talk about these turns because I really want to look at Iceman Stats and honestly the Astonishing X-Men as a team before we talk about order. So let's go check out those stats. Okay, for those who are not familiar, I have this giant spreadsheet where I rank all the stats for the characters in the game. The baseline for those stats is level 75, 7 yellow stars, 4 red stars, T14, 25% star tech, and passive level 4, all per msf.gg. If you are not familiar with msf.gg, I highly recommend you checking it out. They do great work there. So, having said that, now you come to the top here, see Dr. Doom, you scroll down, and you know what? Iceman's already there. He's at 22. That's pretty darn good for a new character. I really liked seeing that. We'll see what stats, you know, are high, which ones are low. I talked about focus. You can kind of already see that's highlighted. But we'll see what else. I talked about health for the barrier. We talked about damage, right? So first up, we've got the health. Health comes in ranked 43rd, 199k. That's pretty decent. So that barrier is going to build up pretty decently there. Nothing really to add there. It's not like he's giving barrier to anybody else. Damage 78. I didn't love that. That's like right in the mid-tier mark. You know, I wish it would have been a little higher given that you need the slows are so critical for getting some of those extra attacks and lowering armor. I wanted to see his damage be a bit higher, but it's not bad. Okay, so depending on how everything else goes, we'll see. So armor is actually really high. I guess that makes sense because he's Iceman, but I'm not really necessarily looking for him to have a ton of armor because he's already doing some barrier. So I guess he's got some survivability, I mean, which is always helpful, but this didn't do much with me. It's the same as Sinister and She-Hulk. You know, She-Hulk's a tank. You know, Sinister's got high heals, no barrier. So, okay, fine. Now, the one I keep talking about is focus. His focus is atrocious. It's 55-22. It's, you know, ranked 101. It's the same focus as She-Hulk, is the Thing, Domino, which, you know, I don't know how many times you've ever used Domino's ultimate. It doesn't stick. You know, that's what we're looking at here. But that's just on one character. So it's like, okay. Now, there are ways to increase this. One of them being Skirmisher at level 5, which if you do that, it's going to jump up. This is the formula I've got over here, as you can see from my mouse. It jumps up to 80, 82, 83, which, okay, well, what does that mean? All right, we can look right above me. There's Ronan. He's ranked 22 in focus, and it's not quite that high, right? So again, we're looking at 82, 83. And let's find Killmonger's at 81, so it's a little bit better than Killmonger. Phoenix is also at 81, so it's a little bit better than regular Phoenix. Mysterio, that's probably the best one we want to look at. Mysterio's focus tends to be pretty solid. I've been pretty happy with him landing his debuffs. So Iceman, if skirmisher level 5, which is a high investment, a very high investment, then you will get that focus up above what we've got at Mysterio. And then I think you don't necessarily have to worry about some of the stuff. I still think if you don't have those ISOs, there's some way to play through that, which I'll get to in a little bit. But initially, as I look at this focus, I was pretty disappointed with that. I'd be happy to trade some of that armor for a higher focus, but is what it is. Resistance is crazy high, coming in at 13, 81, 18. Iceman, I guess it makes sense. You know, he's made of moisture and can change his body, and I don't know. It was fine. So speed is decent, 113. It's gonna really matter how that plays in sync with the rest of the Astonishing X-Men, or I like to call them Axemen. So ranked 51st. So the overall rankings here of Iceman, if you come all the way over to the side here, is like 53.7. So he's right in this thing, Hella, as far as stat-wise. Hella's a great tune. So you like that. Mr. Sinister, you know, Ironheart, some of these other ones, better than Yelena we just got. You know, it gets a lot better once you get Emma and up, you know, so this group here, I really like the Hela comparison, Sinister, She-Hulk. It's like, all right, so now we talk about how does this character work with the rest of the team, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to filter this for speed so that you guys can see the order of this team, okay? All right, so you can see I've got this column ranked so you can see who's going first. Now, everybody's going to get the same amount of speed ups from Jubilee's passive, so let's just go with this, right? So right now, so the first person to go is Beast. All right, so that's what we got. So if we go to msf.gg and we're going to go look at Beast here, okay? So we're going to clear our filters. We've got Beast. And when you're looking at what he's got his special and that's it, ready. So his special is clearing negative effects and healing any allies. Which is kind of like, all right, there's unlikely to need anybody to be healed, but maybe. So otherwise, he's using his basic and you're waiting to get to this second turn where he can start buffing people. So let's go back to this. So then you get to Iceman. I'm like, okay, well, the reason I wanted to look at that is because I wanted to see, is there any offense ups anywhere? Do I spawn with offense up? You know, in Jubilee and Bishop's kit, we didn't see anything with that where there's, we've got this where we got the kit from the blog post, and you know, there's no, this is Bishop down here, and there's no on passive offense ups, right? There's nothing here that gives you that. Same thing when you go to Jubilee, there's no offense ups here from her in her passive. Now, she does have, where is it? I think it's on her special. Apply offense up to all Astonishing X-Men allies, but she's not going to do that till her second turn. So one of the things you can look at when trying to figure out from a character is, all right, well, offense up can increase that focus if I can get it before his first turn, but he doesn't have it. So I'm kind of like, all right, so when I'm looking at these abilities here, I don't have the offense up from any, Beasts can't give it to me. I don't get it from anywhere else. Jubilee's not giving it to me second turn. So honestly, when I'm thinking about using Iceman here, you've got control of him in raids. Okay, so I might just be using this basic to get some slows out there until I can get an offense up. And then I start looking at using this ultimate. And then after I get that ultimate out there, I pick a character that I want to stun. Now, where this can be a problem is if there's high burst from tunes. If characters have a lot of burst and you wanted to stun them, I'm like, okay, well, now what? You know, and we know Scopely likes to play with speed and all these other manipulations in raid. Iceman needs to get going a little bit here to be able to get these slows off or to guarantee them. Granted, like I said, you could do Skirmisher, which I'd highly recommend doing if you're finding that node's a little difficult, because you're probably going to need to use his ultimate first turn. And if you're not, and you've got the burst, you're kind of screwed, right? So one thing that actually I'm putting this segment in back in, because after I finished the video, I was talking on stream and Thandoc specifically made a comment that, I didn't factor in some of the, or specifically said that he didn't think it'd be an issue because of his focus and on the basic. And I started talking about with the speed and said, well, but he's slower than all these people. But it's like, wait a minute, in raids, which you're going to use this team for, Jubilee gives him a 20% increase, which is this right here. This is 135.6, right? So then you scroll up and you look at 135.6. The only people faster than that are Yo-Yo, Black Widow. Well, I guess I could delete and Black Widow. So unless Scopely plays with the stats, which we do know they will do that. Okay, so there will be some stat play going around there, but Iceman is probably going to be going pretty quick because of the Jubilee passive. So if that happens and those slows go out there, I think that could help with that problem just a little bit. So anyway, wanted to throw that out there. Thanks, Standox. So that's where I'm kind of looking at this team a little bit and their speed. I'm like, all right, well then Bishop goes, but again, that's not really playing. And you scroll down, Kitty goes, and then Jubilee goes. So you're not getting any of these offense ups until you come back around for Beast. So when you get that offense up from Beast, all right, so maybe Iceman's second turn, you're looking at, all right, offense up, and you get the ultimate from Iceman, where you're gonna go, okay, I like this now. I've got an offense up. I'm gonna hit all characters, and I've got the focus gain. I'm gonna make sure to stack that slow. I like it, right? So that's really what we're seeing there. His stats, like I mentioned, they're not bad. You know, it's currently sort of for speed. I wish they were a little bit better on the focus end. That's kind of the thing I've been saying I'm worried the most about, but I think there are mechanics out there that you can use to make sure that he is good, because when we're gonna do a T4 graphic on this, so I don't want to spoil that, but there are some ways to look at this team where they might be super OP in raids with making sure you've got a lot of control out there. So I'll leave it at that for now. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Like I mentioned, Discord link in the description below. Hammer down on that like button, click the notification bell, click the subscription button. I think you guys know the drill at this point. Appreciate you stopping by, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.